Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the last installment video of this series. I just want to show you guys, yeah, we ended the series I think with 46 deaths there. And I want to talk about the map in terms of a previous old map creator perspective. I've created many Minecraft maps in my day, and two of which were CTM maps. One I made by myself, and another I made with another old friend of mine, still in contact, Stevie J. So this was a lot of fun to play a map in the modern Minecraft era because the game has changed so much. As you can tell, I don't know, I feel like a lot of players, pretty much after 1.9 happened, a lot of players kind of split the Minecraft around that time. At least the players I played with. Typically, all of those popular multiplayer servers stayed alive, but most of the community that I remember, most of them split from this game, and just because some of the direction Mojang was going into, most of the community wasn't liking, or maybe we just grew out of this game and we found, you know, Call of Duty is a lot better, or Fortnite is like the game of choice, right? But well, that actually turned out to be true, right? However, you know, many of us came back to this game. I think during 1.13, I came back uh, during 1.14 development. That's why I started playing, I guess, a little bit more regularly. Not, you know, frequently, but enough to record a series like this. So, yeah, I made a few videos before then kind of highlighting what I was doing at the time in this game because my entire channel is like kind of built on Minecraft. So I feel like if I ever play this game, I have like a duty to record what I'm doing in the game, like just as a tribute to the community I've once built around this game, and you know, just for myself as documentation, as I always talk about. But enough from that. I recently read the comments from the map creator himself. This is where it gets interesting. So, at the moment, we are not in contact, but I have reached out to the map creator, and I want to kind of give an unbiased opinion before meeting and greeting with the map creator. I want to give my unbiased opinion before that because I'm very likely to be more nice, if that makes sense, you know, just for courtesy. But I'm not trying to make this video to rip it apart or anything. Let me start with this. The map overall is amazing. An excellent map, something anyone that's willing to have a sorry, a CTM experience in the modern Minecraft, like 1.14 and above. This is a map to try. It is hot. You should play the map. But coming from a map maker perspective, there are some areas I do think are worth talking about. First of all, to credit the map creator's brilliantness, and also to kind of discuss some of the hardships I faced, I think due to the design of the map, which some ideas or concepts were poorly placed. But again, this is all constructive criticism. It's subject to debate, of course. I am just bringing this from my own experience. But take this with a grain of salt, of course. This is not to upset anyone. This is just to kind of inform, as a previous map creator myself, what I thought about certain areas. So let's begin. Let's just start off with the basics. This teleport station, this is a really good idea. This is something that's present in the modern era. It's been around, but these teleporters to save the player time, because walking through completed areas is monotonous. This was an excellent idea. So let's breeze through intersection 1. The orange wool, if I remember, was really clever. We had already the introduction of lava, and using these magma blocks, these new blocks, kind of added a little bit of difficulty. Now hear me out. if you walk around the lava to kind of mine or bridge out like this, you have to hold shift on these blocks in order to not take damage. While you're doing that, you're walking slower, right? You're more susceptible to a skeleton shooting you and actually knocking you into the lava. It's a good idea. I noticed it. And there's actually some blocks here, I believe, that are silverfish. Now there are some uncontaminated blocks, like here, which was stone kind of elevated in the air, and this was cool. I'm not going to talk too much about some of these areas, but stuff like this I'm not a fan of, and I've talked about it previously in the videos, but I'll go over it again. This one wide path you give the player deters the player more than anything from taking that path. Now, if I'm forced to take this path and there's just spawners after spawners littered across this one wide path area, it makes me just want to, like, if I'm playing not for recording and just for fun, I'm just going to do this. Now, you might argue, who cares about that player? No one is seeing that. It doesn't affect me at all. But if you're looking at targeting all the players, regardless of their playstyle, recording or not, you know, you want to make sure, as if you're intending the player to take a path, you want them to take it. You don't want them to think of alternate paths. But you are, when you do these one wide paths, you are kind of forcing the player, if they're having a lot of trouble, to take an alternate path. There's not too much to say about the sapphire pools. I'll just kind of breeze over it a little bit. This is the area. It's pretty well designed. I don't have too much, you know, it's a standard area. And let's take a look at Executioner's Downfall. This area, I believe, was pretty good. Again, it is forcing you to go along one path because it's kind of in a castle, kind of underground castle. But it's 3 wide, so I don't exactly have to take one path. And as you can see, there's not just one area. Like, I can hide in here. I can go in here. You know, there's plenty of space. It's not one wide like we just saw. And then this fall over here, which is pretty, creates a lot of immersion. Over here, you have multiple paths. I can take the stairs. I can take this area if I ever so please. But I've paths, and of course, it's aesthetically, it's pretty nice. It's not, you know, over the top, but you know, the map creator has thought about the resources he wants to give to the player. And so the aesthetics for this area is pretty well done. Alright, this is intersection 2. Sorry about that. I'm misspeaking a lot, but here is a yellow wool. And again, this area is pretty nice. I love the jungle leaves, these giant thick vines, kind of what it looks like. And the stone, it just always looks good. It's a safe thing to do whenever you create a map of, you know, underground stuff. And, you know, the moss stone I never really noticed until now. Looks really good. This area is, again, very well thought of. You have plenty of options, like I can take the right path or the left path. It doesn't matter if there's only 2 paths. I can take either one. This is important to give the player options. If you don't give the player options but one, they will create the second option. Because if option 1 doesn't work, you need a second option. So this, again, is very good. Plenty of loot in this area. Again, you have the bridges. They are 1 thick. That's okay. That's intended. Because you will fall down into this water where there's a lot more mobs waiting for you. So it's a clever map design. There's a lot of verticality here. And again, I rate this area pretty highly. The lime wool, if I remember, was well done as well. I don't think there's anything insane about this area. Yeah, this was the introduction of the void, if I remember. So if we fly down here, here's the void. Here's void. So this is the introduction of void on the second intersection. There is 1 path, but this area was designed specifically to take that path, and I think it was well done. It's not 1 wide, and there's plenty of opportunity to see where you're going. So again, you're not really limited in that sense. You have the ability to see ahead of you, so that's again really good. So again, this area is well designed. So in this specific case where the map creator gives the player 1 path, it looks like, it's pretty wide open, so it doesn't feel claustrophobic. And that's really what you don't want to do, is make the player feel claustrophobic, and they'll just start digging around and, you know, sequence break, as we say. So this is Silverstone Quarry for the pink wool. Again, this area is excellent. I remember it to be very difficult, but quite awesome. You had these little areas where there'd be ores placed within it. You had these towers that had loot in it. Again, really clever. But as you can see, do I have to say much about this area? Look how many paths you can take as a player. Any path you want. And it spirals down. You can see the entire map pretty much. Again, not much to say here. But if I continue right here, I can already start with the third intersection, which this area is just magnificent. And if you remember, this is where I died like 10-15 times going along this path because I chose not to wear armor to recover my items. So with that being said, let's talk about this area. I don't know what the wool was for here, but we can give it a look. Again, this area was definitely really fun to play. You had, I believe, a skeleton spawner up here. So you had the skeletons shooting above, having the high ground, and you having guardian spawners trickled around here. You have to, basically your path is water. You have to swim a lot, so you're impeded automatically. The next area, of course, is this castle. Overall, pretty well. I didn't feel too claustrophobic in here. Lots of paths. Verticality, of course, is a thing in this. And I believe this was the light gray wall. Okay, that's confirmed. Now, this area was, again, another sort of difficulty. Lots of verticality. I will be using that word a lot. Sorry. We had cave spiders. And we had tons of mobs, like skeletons shooting you. Now we are in the fourth intersection, and let's take a look. So the Hanging Gardens, this one I had high criticism for. Let's actually take a look. This area looks to be a pretty wide path. You know, you have plenty of space here. But then we go to these gardens are hanging, as the name suggests, but they're one wide. Again, what I don't understand exactly the intention here. There was tons of flowers, these types of flowers. And there's just hundreds of them all over this soil that you see, this tilled grass. And it was more of an annoyance than anything. Again, if you guys don't know why it was annoying, mobs can see you through, like skeletons. They can see you completely through this, but obviously as a player, me, I can't see anything through it. And so it made it really annoying. I just felt like that was a little unfair. Obviously, that's the intention of the map creator, to be annoying and kind of add that sort of blindness to the map, which is cool and everything, but having this one wide path and all this kind of stuff, it didn't feel right to me. I wouldn't rate this area as highly as the others. This area, I believe, had iron. So now the reason I like this area is, come on, can you guess it? Lots of options for pathing. You can see it breaks apart everywhere pretty much. So if this area was difficult, it was, by the way, to answer that, but it could have been avoided if I, you know, took different paths. So again, a very well designed area. This area was quite cool. I had a lot of good things to say about this area. There is one path, but there's really two. If you see the water, this is a second path to take. It's not like blocked in by bedrock or anything. But what's amazing about this area is if you hit some mobs over, right? Look what's going to happen. They're going to rise up, and especially if they're a skeleton, you're going to hit the skeleton into the water. He's going to rise up and still have an active line of sight to you and shoot you. So not easy to get rid of mobs, like hitting them with knockback and hoping you're out of range. No, they're going to hang around and have complete line of sight to you. And they kind of act as like turrets. And again, if they're not skeletons or zombies, this will just force them right back up to fight you like that. Again, this area is well designed. Alright guys, the last intersection. So you probably have more information. You remember more of what I said because these are the more recent episodes that you've watched. So, with that being said, I'm going to kind of graze over these areas. or graze over. So we have Blood, Bone, and Fire as a green wool. This area was quite difficult, but I just want to just explain this one thing that I loved, that actually, again, I was showcasing before. But we have this area. We have many spawners, but look, we have path 1, path 2, or the not kind of seen path, the third path. Here's like kind of a ladder or an area to go up, and you can use this area. But look over here, right in the center, we have a lava column. This is kind of like a deterrent, like don't actually bridge across here and avoid the mobs because of this lava curtain. Take the left or right path. It's basically saying this is a very clever way to kind of illustrate a potential path, but deter the player from taking it. So I have the area prepared here to help me speed this criticism up because the video is getting pretty dang long. So let's continue. So we have one path here. It doesn't violate my one path philosophy because two things need to be met for this to be broken. It has to be one wide path, and that has to be the only path. This is the only path, but it's not one wide, so you're good to go. Again, it's riddled with mobs, tons of it. What you're seeing is all of the natural mob spawning for this area, and this is pretty accurate because all of the other areas in this map are dark. There's no torches because I loaded a fresh copy just to do this area. So what you're seeing is probably an average load of mob spawning, natural mob spawning in this area. So yeah, this is a pretty fair assumption. Now this bridge, I'm just going to talk about this briefly. I really could talk about it for a long time, but we got to talk about this bridge. There is so many mob spawners on a one thick bridge. I have no idea what the intention was of this area. Was it really just to upset the player? Because that's what it feels like. If I'm a player and I see the amount of spawners, now I'm gonna just look at a player's perspective. If I'm looking straight at the castle and I see all of these spawners and I know this bridge is one thick, what possesses me to take this path? Now, mind you, it's not one wide, but it's one thick above void. So that's pretty similar. You can critique that if you want, but I'm going to say that's pretty similar. This is just as dangerous, if not way more dangerous than a one wide would possess you. You know, one wide being you can't really move side to side. You're limited, kind of like 2D is limited to length and width. Now again, what possesses the player to take this path? Well, if you're me and you're doing a YouTube series and vow to take the fun path, you will take this path. However, I do see players very easily that are offline playing this, not recording, easily just bridge off here because what you see right here is just asking for death. If you've seen any of these spawners, this is a knight, this is a skeleton, sorry, a wither skeleton that's going to wither you and I think light you on fire. You have blazes that are going to light you on fire with the wither, right, effects from the melee guys. And you have bows here, so let's think of some ways to remedy this area. If you have these outside paths, this looks like an option. You're going to quickly realize while you're playing the map that these skeletons are just going to shoot you off, or the blazes are. You have, or maybe even the spiders that spawn here, because they're pretty fast. They'll just snipe you right off. So yeah, this area definitely does not make the player want to take it. This completely defeats the purpose of a bridge. A bridge, you should be able to take it. This completely defeats that purpose. Now, the map is supposed to be hard. This is the final area before the last wall. I get that. It should be hard. But when you give the player only one path, and it's one wide thick, and they can see their demise in the spawner count here, it doesn't make the player want to take the path. It's just that's how it feels, right? Now up here, there's a ton of mob spawners, but it's different because you have these little podiums here that you could take. I didn't personally take them, but you could have taken them, despite, you know, what I did in my LP. And, you know, there's gas spawners up here, so that helps. One of the last criticisms is this tower. You have a one wide thick, pretty much going up vertically on this tower. You have a ton of mobs. all of them, it's so compacted, the area, you don't even want to be in here. It's so claustrophobic. Again, you have to, basically, if you get hit off, you want to pillar up. But again, why would you pillar up in here then? If you can just navigate to the outside of this, be completely safe, and just pillar up from the side. And that's what I did exactly in my LP. I pillared up, I believe, on one of these podiums over here. And I kept pillaring up because that, why would I take this area? You have ladders that are going to catch on fire due to the blaze. And it's so claustrophobic, it doesn't even make you want to take this area. So again, that defeated the purpose of the intent. The intent was completely lost for taking this ladder system. Last criticism will be in this area, and I will get to a bug in a second, is that this area, once you're in here, it's so tight, hundreds of spawning, unforgiving amount of spawners, and you're expected to kind of just rambo through, which I don't think is a good design for a map. I think the players should be able to fight the mobs that are presented to them and not have to run past them like I did. So it didn't feel right to me. So this is me leaving over a lot of detail, but again, I want to make this video kind of short. This is the biggest bug that I'm going to show you. This area, this teleports the player when any entity gets on this pad. Okay, this might not have been apparent to the map creator when he was making this immediately, but I'm going to have a few zombies in here. Well, they're going to use that pressure plate immediately, but you kind of get the point. I'm not activating to go away from this. As you can see, I can be down here, and a mob up there that spawned is going to randomly teleport me. This is really bad. But again, I think that goes without saying. That's pretty obviously a flaw in the map. That's just a bug. It can be easily corrected by using a button. But even then, I think the problem is with these kind of contraptions is that it requires redstone. And if this pressure plate gets blown up, I, the player, have to repair something that's supposed to be provided for me from the map. So this, again, is another problem, right? And also this isn't really, this is very subject to blow up, right? If I'm a player and I walk up here and I didn't even see that sign, well, it's gone completely. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what this bedrock is for if I wasn't a bit clever about map design, right? So this is my criticism for this area. It took the longest, but there's a lot to cover in this area. And I didn't cover everything, but this is definitely enough to get the conversation going, I guess. I hope the criticism was valid. I did give options to fix, so hopefully those are considered as part of my argument. And again, I love this map. I love this map completely as a whole, but there are just some things like this that I think are not so great, and that's okay. That's part of every map. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out now.